Greetings everyone. Today we're going to explore the basics of polynomials. To get started, let's talk about the word polynomial, what it means, what it looks like, and what it doesn't look like. The word polynomial is defined as an expression of more than two terms that contain different powers with the same variable. So let's visualize what we're talking about here. An expression means there's no equal sign. More than two terms means I have at least two pieces of information being added or subtracted. Different powers, meaning exponents, and the same variable. So here would be an example of a polynomial. It can be any variable, and it could have two of the same variables. So for example, I could have x squared y plus x cubed y minus xy. I could also have really long with all kinds of numbers like negative 99x cubed plus 78x squared minus 72. It doesn't have to have a variable. I could also have a constant. So a few characteristics. There's going to be no division of variables. Also, we're going to stick to, in our class, only whole number exponents. Okay, so we're not going to worry about negatives. We're not going to worry about fractional exponents. You're going to worry about more of that in Algebra 2, to be honest. So what do I mean? How does that separate out what a polynomial looks like? So for example, I'm not going to give you this here x to a half. All right, in Algebra 2, you will see that. We will work with that then, because that's going to lead to some radicals, because that actually means the squared root of x, believe it or not. So you don't need to know that now. And we're also not going to deal with 1 over x. Rational functions, again, is something you'll explore in Algebra 2. All right, here's where we definitely need to jot all this down. We're going to talk about how to name a polynomial. So polynomials get their name from the degree, which is the highest exponent. So first of all, that's like a definition right there. Degree is equal to the highest exponent. So make sure you jot that down. So their first name is from the degree, and their last name is from the number of terms. So the first thing we have to work on is making sure we combine like terms, making sure everything's in standard form. But let's just talk about the names for now. We'll work on the other stuff a little bit later. So for example, if I have a degree of 0, an example of that would be if I just have a 5. That would be a constant. There's no exponent because there's no variable. If I have a degree of 1, that would be a polynomial like x plus 5, meaning the highest degree is a 1, the highest exponent is a 1. We call that a linear function. Think about it. Yeah, those would be written like the equation of a line that we did in first semester. 2, an example of a degree of 2 would be like x squared plus x minus 5. The highest exponent is 2, and we call that quadratic. Degree of 3, you're starting to see the trend here. That would mean if I have an exponent of a 3 is the highest exponent, that we call a cubic function. Now beyond, if I have anything with an exponent of 4 or higher, we just use 4th, 5th, etc. So anything beyond that, I'm not going to have the expectation that you know the name. Let's talk about the number of terms. So an example of one term would look like if I just have, let's say, oops, sorry about that, just like an X. Okay, it's a single piece of information. And here's where your English is really going to tie in. That's called a monomial. Notice that prefix, mono, one, meaning mono. So monomial. If I have two terms, that would be like an x squared plus 5. There's two pieces of information separated by a plus or minus sign. Think of the prefix for two. What prefix means two? Binomial. So binomial, bi, meaning two, like bicycle. 3, we're talking three terms. So for example, x squared minus x plus 5, three pieces of information. Think of the prefix of 3. What's something that has 3? Tricycle, so trinomial. 4 or more, there are sometimes different names that are used, but we're just going to stick to polynomial, okay? So poly meaning many, so many, polynomial. So these are names that you're going to have to know. So if I say, please add these two binomials, please multiply this linear times this quadratic, you know what I'm referring to, okay? So let's take a look at some examples. Here's 3 examples that we are going to name a first and a last name. So the first thing I notice is the degrees. The highest exponent on this one is 2, which means it's quadratic. The number of terms it contains is 1, 2. So 2 terms is binomial. All right, let's take a look at the second example. The highest exponent I see is a 4, so that's 4th degree. And the number of terms it contains is 1, 2, 3. 3 prefix is tri, so trinomial. All right, let's take a look at the third example. I have a highest exponent of 3, so that would be cubic. And I have also 1, 2, 3 terms, or do I? What do you notice about these last 2 terms? We can actually add those together. Those are like terms. We have to slow down for a minute. This would be the same as saying 12x. So technically, I only have 1, 2 terms. This is a binomial. Okay, so keep an eye out for that. We're going to work on writing these the correct way as well. Let's talk about standard form, okay? So here our goal, if I ask you to write something in standard form, that means all the like terms have been combined, and we're going to write it as exponents from greatest to least. So here's the way I think of it. Write your polynomial pretty. You're going to hear me say that, meaning in order, meaning what you can combine is combined. So if I take a look, I don't have anything I can combine on this one, but I can rearrange it in order. The highest exponent being the 5th, so I have a 4x to the 5th. Next would be the 4th, so I have a minus 1x to the 4th. Next is third, it's positive 15x cubed. We use the signs in front as is. I next have a positive 2x squared. I then have a positive 1x. And then I have my constant, which always hangs out at the end because it doesn't have a variable, therefore it doesn't have a degree. So writing in order should be easy, but keep an eye out for those like terms, okay? All right, that's it for the first lesson, right? Not too bad for this unit. A couple of things, just keep an eye out on Google Classroom, okay? You know, what's due, what's the expectation, what's the homework to go with this. If you have any questions, make sure you email or message. Let me know what you have concerns of. If you need Additional resources. I mean, Google's your friend. You can certainly just Google polynomial names to look for more information, okay? You can look for a lot of games and practice as well by using that information. So again, keep up. What's the expectation? What's due? If you have questions, let me know. And until next time, have a good one, you guys.